Welcome into Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern. I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. I really like his shirt tonight. It's a high school track shirt, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room, how you doing? Welcome in to a Friday edition, big Friday edition of Ride the Line.
This shirt is from high school, Tanner. I'm surprised you were able to read it. I guess my camera quality is pretty good. This was from my state championships, my junior or senior year. I don't remember. No, it had to be junior because this was the first year that I made state. So, yeah, this actually – I hadn't seen this shirt in years, and I was digging through. I wanted something vibrant. I wanted to bring in the good energy to the Friday show. So I needed some colors. I saw it sitting in the bottom of the drawer, and I thought I'd break it out.
Yeah, it's pretty vibrant. I know, all those high school sporting event shirts look the same.
Yeah, they're all tie-dyes, especially track and field shirts. I mean, I know you didn't run track and field, but every meet you go to, it's always tie-dye. There's never just one solid color.
Grant, they didn't give tie-dye shirts to the freaking gladiators, okay?
You weren't a gladiator. You were just fat, running around in the field with your tights on.
They didn't make tie-dye shirts for the football is the gladiator sport. That's track and field's not the gladiators, okay? They don't give us tie-dye. Anyways, I like the shirt. Take the damn compliment.
I'm glad you're back, Tanner. I missed you on Wednesday.
I know. I wasn't here Wednesday. I had a lot of business to attend to. So I appreciate Grant taking that show solo. But today the boys are back. Today the boys are buzzing. And today the boys are riding. And we're giving you guys 6 picks in the next 10 minutes. So you better subscribe to the channel because we do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And when football season rolls around, it's going to be even more intense. I don't know the show schedule during football season, but it's going to be epic. So make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Yep, absolutely. All sorts of exciting content on the way. Tanner and I, we've already given out our predictions and our previews for every division in the NFL. I'm assuming right before the season kicks off. The season kicks off on Thursday. So on that Wednesday show, we're going to be having some picks for the game, probably some prop picks as well. And I would assume we're going to be talking about some Super Bowl futures, all that great stuff. So yeah, no reason not to be subscribed.
No reason not to be subscribed at all. So without further ado, let me get into my first pick, Grant. This is a beautiful pick. You're going to love this pick. You ready for this?
Let's go.
I'm going to take the under. It's a little scary, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the under in the Tigers versus Guardians game. Matt Manning coming off an excellent start against the Boston Red Sox. 5.1 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no earned runs there. He's gotten rocked in the 3 starts before that against the Rays, Pirates, and Angels, but he's not facing any of those lineups today. Friday. He's facing a pretty bad lineup. I'm going to be honest. The Cleveland Guardians are not that good hitting the baseball. When you look at the Guardians overall, they only got a couple players to worry about. Yes, they've been better since the All-Star break, but overall, I do think Matt Manning can shove them. He's actually been better on the road this season than at home, so that's another reason to ride with him. And then I think the Cleveland Guardians are going to be able to keep the scoring down for the Tigers just because of who they got in the mound in Gavin Williams. Williams has been sensational against really good lineups. Pitched against the Rays in his last start, went 5 innings, only gave up a run there, went 7 scoreless against the Blue Jays, only gave up 2 against the Astros, 1 against the Phillies. The dude, he fits the part, and I think he's going to be able to keep the Tigers off balance in the spot. I really like him to shove. Matt Manning is the wild card here, but hopefully he can build off that momentum from the Red Sox game. And honestly, both these offenses just aren't that good.
Yeah, 100% on the last part. Neither one of these offenses are good. I think the Tigers have maybe a little more upper end potential. At least we've seen that from them lately, but still they're wildly inconsistent. I do love the Gavin Williams shout. He's been really good. He's got a bright future in front of him. I bet on the Tigers under a couple of days ago, and when I did bet on it, this was a few days ago, so it's been updated since then. But at that time, their under had hit in 10 of the last 15 and in 5 straight. They ended up burning me, and that game did go over, but honestly, I've just been having a lot of bad luck in my personal opinion lately. I still like the Tigers against this Guardians game to go under.
Bet the trends. Bet the trends. The trends work. If you bet the trends 10 of your past 15, you bet them all 15 games, you'd be up money. So that's how you got to think about it. You can't look at it one day. Got to look at it over time. Anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Grant. That's really good advice. Bet the trends. I like that. That's short and sweet.
Bet the trends. It's a good podcast name too. All right, Grant. Give it to me. First pick.
All right. My first pick here, I'm taking the Philadelphia Phillies run line -1.5 versus the Washington Nationals. On the bump for the Nats is going to be Joan Adon. Don't know how to pronounce his last name. Sorry. I've only caught one game, and for whatever reason, I think I was listening to a podcast or something. I didn't have the sound on. But however you pronounce his last name, he's 2-1 with a 5.14 ERA and a .86 WHIP. going against Michael Lorenzen, who was awesome. He has been awesome since the Phillies acquired him. He's 7-7 with a 3.23 ERA and a 1.04 WHIP. Now, the last time that we saw Lorenzen, he threw a complete game no-hitter against the Washington Nationals. Now, Adon has he's only made 4 appearances in the major league so far, but you look at his minor league stats, they're not that impressive. He's 3-5 with a 4.62 and a 1.51 WHIP. So I know Lorenzen did have a couple of shaky months in the middle of the season, but he started the year really well. He's been excellent ever since he got to Philadelphia, and you look at his last 7 starts, which comprises the last 2 months, he's got a 1.12 ERA, so he's been completely on fire as of late. Both teams can score. I don't want to take that away, especially from the Nationals, because although the Nationals aren't that great of a team, they have had the bats work in lately. So that's why I think there's so much importance on the pitching matchup here. Even if they can get hits off of Lorenzen, we know that the Phillies are going to be able to score runs of their own. And then if you look at the bullpen, the differences between them, since the start of July, the Phillies are 4th in ERA. The Nationals are 27th. So with those disparities and both advantages in the starting and the bullpen favoring the Phillies, I'm going to take them to cover in this one.
Yeah, Lorenzen's a dog. Just straight bulldog. That's what Lorenzen is.
Yeah, he's really good. The Phillies lead this series, the season series 6-4. They've covered in all 6 wins, so I do trust them here.
I like it. Speaking of covering, Grant, Minnesota Twins are going to cover against the Pittsburgh Pirates on Friday. Minnesota Twins, not the best offense in the world, but the one area where they have the advantage in the spot is their home runs. They've hit 46 more homers than Pittsburgh, and the Pirates just really haven't been good. They're just 2-3 in their past 5 games, and one of those wins came against the Poverty Mets, but they were outscored by the Poverty Mets in 2 of those 3 games, 15-5. So that tells you everything you need to know right there. Twins are better than the Mets. They're also very good at home. They're 34-25 at home. Pittsburgh Pirates not good on the road, 25-35, and they have Andre Jackson going. I'd rather not see Andre Jackson pitching much. 26 innings has not been good. 4.6 ERA on the road, 1.2 WHIP. Just not someone I want to bet on this spot. 6 home runs allowed in 26 innings. Going against Pablo Lopez, who's been very consistent this season, 8-6 with 3.6 ERA, WHIP right around 1. And you look at Lopez as well. He's got back-to-back shutouts in his past 13 innings, so a 6-inning start and then a 7-inning start. I like what the Twins can do with the bats here. I think they get a few big swings. Andre Jackson gives them up, and they get the win and cover.
Yeah, it's just hard to really trust the Pirates. They started the season 20-8. Ever since then, I'm trying to do the math right here. They are 34-59. That puts them on pace to have one of the worst records in baseball if they didn't get off to such a clean start to the season. The Twins do also have that inconsistency problem that I was talking about with the Tigers and to a lesser extent the Guardians, but they're much, much more explosive than the Pirates are. And the Pirates, I mean, even their stud is Mitch Keller. He hasn't even been good lately. None of the guys in the starting department or the bullpen for the Pirates are able to really shut down opposing teams. So yeah, I like this pick.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it, Grant. Give me number 2.
Okay, you should be a fan of this one, Tanner. I'm going to take the Boston Red Sox money line versus the New York Yankees here. I absolutely love this spot for the Red Sox. Brian Bellows getting the start for the Sox. He's been pretty good this season, got a 3.80 ERA. Has been creeping up a little. His last couple starts haven't been that great, but you know what? He had a good month last month, and in 2 starts against the Yankees so far, he's given up just 3 earned runs in 14 innings. And that was earlier in the season when the Yankees were still a good baseball team, which they absolutely are not anymore. Now, this isn't official. In fact, ESPN doesn't have him listed, but if you look at the sports books and what some of the other just baseball sites out there are projecting, it looks like Johnny Brito is going to be starting for the Yankees. He's 4-5 with a 4.76 ERA and a 1.28 WHIP. He's had a couple of nice games so far this season. He was good against the Marlins the last time we saw him, but for the most part, he's been pretty bad. I mean, it's a 4.76 ERA. The expected ERA, I think, is like 5.20 something, just not that reliable. The Sox have won 7 of 9 games against the Yankees so far this season. This game is being played in New York. Well, guess what? They won 2 of 3 the last time they played them in New York as well. I know Boston's offense is better at home than it is on the road, but the Yankees have no offense regardless of where they are. I mean, they were shut out in their last 2 games. Just one time in their last 5 have they managed to score more than 3 runs. There's really just not a whole lot to look for with the Yankees. If anything, you would say, well, the Yankees are always going to have that strong bullpen, right? That's going to be able to bail them out of games. Since the start of July, the teams are basically neck and neck with one another. I think the Yankees are 11th in bullpen ERA. The Sox are 12th. So they don't have a discernible advantage there. The Sox had been in a little mini slump on offense, but they broke out of it yesterday against the Nationals. I like them to get a win here.
Red Sox are poverty. The Yankees are more poverty. So good. That's how I describe it. Like both teams are bad, honestly. Red Sox, you got a chance to win a series against the Washington Nationals, and you lose 2-3. You look terrible. You look awful. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Now you got the Yankees who are poverty, but then you got 7 games against the Astros with 3 games against the Dodgers sandwiched in between those. And then you got the Rays and the Orioles. Like, it's just, you had a prime chance to actually take a step forward this week, and you didn't do it. So they're both poverty.
I mean, yeah, the Red Sox, there was a hard cap on their ceiling. I know that seemed to be flying above that for a little bit. They were going to come down to earth at some point, but they're better than the Yankees are, simply put. I mean, the Yankees are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a headline on ESPN the other day. It was something to the effect of different day, same story, just constant disappointment with the Yankees. There's nothing you can look for them that's positive.
No, totally agree with that. All right, Grant, you ready for my final pick?
Let's hear it.
I'll look at the AL East standings. It's big right now. Rays are only 2 games behind the Orioles. Interesting. I'm going to go with the Rays here against the Angels. Rays money line plus 100. Erasmo, the Nicaraguan Rocket Rodriguez is on the mound. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, he's pretty fat.
He's pretty terrible, honestly, but he's only going to throw 1 inning in this game. Then we're going to give the ball to the big boys, the Rays bullpen. So he's 2-3 with a 5.7 ERA, 1.58 WHIP, 55 hits allowed in 39 innings. He's not a guy you want to bet on, but because he is on the mound, that's why you're getting the Rays for plus money here. Again, he's only going to pitch a couple innings, and you're going to give it to one of the best bullpens in baseball. Going against Tyler Anderson, who will be on the mound for more than a couple innings here, 5-4 with a 5.28 and 1.52 WHIP. He's just as bad, 119 hits allowed in 109 innings. And when you look at Anderson, too, 4.8 ERA at home. He gave up 7 earned runs in 4 innings in his last start to the Houston Astros. Overall, just has not been that guy. So I'm going to go with the Rays here. They look better on offense. They seem like they're starting to make a little bit of a charge here. They're starting to pick their game up a little bit. The one area where the Angels can hang with them is when it comes to home runs. They have hit actually more home runs than Tampa Bay, but the Rays have still scored 56 more runs. They're 3-2 in their past 5 games. I'm going to ride with them.
Yeah, the Rays offense has been starting to look better over the last couple of weeks, and it's been a slow build, a very slow build because they went in that huge slump, but they were coming out of it. There were some concerns. Were they going to take a step back with Wander Franco out of the lineup, which is a whole nother story in and of itself. They got shut out? Was it a shutout? They scored 1 run, 2 runs the other day. So it was a low amount, but they had really solid offensive outputs in the games on either side of that. Offense has still been trending upwards. So with a guy like Anderson on the mound, he's going to give them opportunities. I think this could be a good spot for the Rays. I like all your picks, Tanner.
It's probably a good spot for the over too, honestly. Could be. Do
you know the line?
It's probably. I gotta think it's 9.
I would guess, 9. I think 9's actually might be it. 8.5, 9, something like that.
Got to be higher. I would say it's got to be higher than 8.5. Let me see, just because of how bad they've both been. No, 9.5, so a little higher. But I'd still probably lean over on it. Both teams are much better against the over this year. 61 and 57 for the Angels, 63 and 56 for the Rays. So I'd still lean over.
There you go. But your pick is Rays money line, right?
Rays money line plus 100. Anytime you get plus money for the Rays against a team like the Angels, take it.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take you over to my final pick. I'm going to take the Blue Jays money line versus the Cincinnati Reds. Jose Berrios is on the mound for the Blue Jays here. He's 9-8 with a 3.53 ERA and a 112 whip, going against Brett Kennedy of the Reds. Now, if you're wondering who is Brett Kennedy, well, he has 2 years in Major League Baseball. One is this year and one was in 2018. He spent a lot of time in the minor leagues. He's only played 2 games so far this season. He's 1-0 with a 5.14 ERA and a 1.14 whip. But again, it's 2 games, so it's not a lot to talk about. Let's talk about his minor league stats because we got a larger workload down there. He's 4-2 with a 3.52 ERA and a 1.30 whip. Now, the 130 whip is definitely worse than the 3.52 ERA, so you got to imagine he's probably somewhere in the middle. But then again, he's not facing the offenses as talented as the Blue Jays are down in the minor leagues. In fact, if you're tier listing the teams you don't want to come across, obviously you've got the Braves, you've got the Dodgers, but then the Blue Jays aren't that far down that list because as far as just individual talent goes, the Blue Jays have an awful lot of it. Now, I know they aren't good with runners in scoring position, and sometimes they're not very disciplined at the plate, yada, yada. But if you're a guy who hasn't spent a lot of time in the major leagues, you just don't want to face the Blue Jays, plain and simple. Now, the Blue Jays have won 2 of their last 3. They ended a little 3-game losing streak, and they've been playing some tough teams lately. I mean, the Phillies, Yeah, they're 12 games behind the Braves, but still, they're one of the hottest teams over the last 2 months. They've got like the second or third best record in the league. The Cubs, one of the best offenses in the league since the All-Star break, even though their record doesn't necessarily reflect that. And the Blue Jays bullpen is also really good. So if Brett Kennedy gets out of there early, let's say Berrios stays in there 6-7 innings, you can count on the Blue Jays relievers to come in, shut them down. They've got the third best bullpen ERA since July 1st. Meanwhile, the Reds, their ERA is 1.3 points worse than that. I'm just going to take the Blue Jays here, short and sweet. I mean, the value is just about -120, -130, depending on where you get it. And for that, with Berrios versus Kennedy, I'm taking the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I like it. Blue Reds have been very bad as of late, very bad. We thought they were hot, and then they just totally fell apart in the Central. So
what happened to them? Because like they're a young team with a lot of talent. They shouldn't have collapsed. Like it would be okay if they entered a slump, but they were supposed to bounce back, and they haven't done it.
Oh, they started winning games, and then Ellie De La Cruz started playing well, and then they just all fell apart. It's not sustainable. These young teams aren't like the Orioles are like defying the odds right now.
And the odds makers continue. I don't know if it's disrespectful, but there's so many days you can load up the sportsbook and you'll get the Orioles for plus money or -110, -115 on the run line. The odds makers still don't love them despite how good they've been.
No, they don't, which is good. I mean, it's good for a betting perspective. If you look at the value right now in the division, at least, is on the Rays to win it. Because if you look at where they're at, division winners, AL East, Baltimore's -260, the Rays are +230. I take the Rays in a minute, down 2 games at +230 right now.
And I saw a little interesting stat earlier today. I just want to pull up the standings here. So right now the Orioles are 74-47. The Padres are 58-63. The Padres have a better run differential this season than the Orioles do.
Really interesting. The Orioles, I mean, they give up a lot of runs, but they win with offense, where the Padres haven't hit the baseball throughout the majority of the season, but they haven't gave up as much.
And the Padres are also just super inconsistent. Like they'll go 1 run, 2 runs, 0 runs, 13, 15, 1. So it's just a mixed bag with them.
Yeah, it is. But they're heating up right now, so we'll see what happens, Grant. But anyways, that was Ride the Line for Friday. Why haven't you subscribed yet? What's up with this? Subscribe to the damn YouTube channel. It's not hard, people. That was the greatest show in sports betting entertainment, Grant.
Absolutely was. And we are so thankful and happy that all of you were able to join us. Like Tanner said, make sure that you do subscribe to the channel so when we come back on the other side on Monday and we tell you both of us went 3-0, you guys are there to enjoy it with us.
Yeah. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on Monday for another episode of Ride the Line.